Welcome to the Strategy Mob Podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here. Hey, thanks for joining me on another episode of Strategy Mob. Hey, today's episode's a little different. This is actually a recording of a conversation I had with a young salesperson named Joe McGinnis. And Joe asks me all kinds of things about the industry and how he can advance his career. I hope you enjoy.
Jason, the reason I want to talk to you first and foremost, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've been watching a lot of your videos recently.
Appreciate it.
I'm kind of in a weird place in my life. So let me tell you a little bit about myself, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I'm 22 years old, so very young. I've only been in the car industry since. I've been in the car industry since I graduated high school. So I worked at a Ferrari dealership. I was a porter there.
Yeah.
Really nice. Know the owners.
That's a great place to be a porter, man.
I know, right?
Talk about like
getting to drive.
it's like a dream job of being a porter
cars.
at a Ferrari delership.
Exactly. It was great. And so I did that for 4 summers, or 3 summers, 3 or 4, while I was going to school, going to college. I pursued a couple different degrees. At first, it was, computer science, so a lot of programming stuff. And it's actually funny, my first job before I was actually a porter there, I actually did a lot of OEM stuff. So I did a lot of stuff for the parts department. I wrote my own code in order to get all these like OEM keywords that I was OEM? Is that right? No, not OEM. I'm sorry. SEO. I'm sorry.
Okay.
A lot of SEO keywords, throwing those into Google, making sure that we're getting a lot of hits whenever people wanted to look up Ferrari parts or Maserati parts, whatever it may be. So I did that for a summer.
You were the porter, and then they're like, "Hey, you know something about this internet stuff? Can you come over here?" Is that how
it was actually
out?
it was the reverse way. So they saw
okay.
that I was I got in there because of my knowledge of that. I wrote my own code in order to get basically just the quickest information. I did like all this work really quickly, and then they were like, "Hey, we like you a lot. Why don't you be a porter? We need a porter." I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, I can't say no to hand washing, beautiful $100,000 cars. I mean, that's the dream,
sounds
right?
like it'd be fun. I'm down.
I know. So I did that for a couple summers, and then once I graduated college, I just got an associate's of general studies. I wanted to still work as a porter because I'm like,
Sure.
Again, great job. Why would I not watching Ferraris and all that, going to Ferrari events?
Dude,
it was
at
great.
22, it'd be freaking awesome. 20, like that's
I
the
know,
best.
right? It was really great. Then they're like, "Hey, we actually don't need you anymore past the summer," and so I was like, "Oh, shoot, I really enjoyed this job." So I talked with the owner of the entire franchise. So he owned, I guess, the Ferrari dealership, a Mazda, an Audi, and an Acura dealership. And so I applied to Mazda and Acura and actually got a sales position. No sales experience whatsoever. They took a chance on me, and I've been doing a pretty good job, I'd say. I've gotten promotion. I was like a product specialist, so a lot of like hourly pay, not making a whole lot of commissions, and just kind of moving my way up. But recently, the big change for us has been that he sold the dealership. So we have new management,
owners,
which
yeah.
I like. But this is my first buy-sell. There's a lot going on that I'm very unsure of, and I want to help these new owners.
How long has the buy-sell been? How are you a couple weeks into it, a couple months into it?
3 weeks.
Oh,
3
so
weeks.
it's
So
super fresh.
Still very fresh.
Super fresh.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like we stopped using Carfax. We're using was Experian AutoCheck, which it does the same thing, but a lot of people prefer the name of Carfax. So there's a lot of these like little things here and there. That kind of just, I don't know. I'm a little off-put by it. I'm very excited moving forward.
Sure.
I want to look at it. I don't want to look at it with negative eyes whatsoever. I want to, take this as best I can moving forward and make the best opportunity out of it, because that's what they want to do with us. They didn't come here to not make money. They came here to make money. They want to, help bring in sales and all that.
Yep.
And so again, the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I'm just really not sure what I want to do. And I know you're not like a life coach or anything, but I figure you have a lot of experience.
Dude, I can walk you through it. I played every single role inside of a dealership, so.
And so I have also applied back at Ferrari, but this time at a sales position as well.
Okay.
So that's the kind of where I'm at right now.
Let's
I want to
start
help
that first
this new.
off. Do you like sales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yes, but there's a no. Where's the but?
I want more. I want to help out. I have a graphic design history. I want to show you this. So this is our trim sheet for all
Yeah.
the vehicles that we have. I put our Advantage logo on there. This was already made by Acura, but I was putting like premium paint colors, little MSRP things
Yeah,
up here, and like
that looks
I've
snazzy.
done it with with all of our different lineups and all that. Like I've done a good job of I help out with anything they ask me to. I'm friends with the managers. Of course they're my managers still, but they ask
Sure.
me for tech support help, helping out, printing out a new privacy notice. We needed to make one, so I made one in Word for it. Like I do everything that I can to try to help us out, and so like I think that I would be great with that. I love building rapport. I love sales. I love making that connection with someone. Really that when I can tell that they're excited, when I get them excited, that's the best part of sales. It makes my job easy. Can get them to buy things they didn't think they were going to be buying just because they like me. And another thing, just as you guys were talking about, I was, again, been watching a lot of your podcasts, and the 8% trustworthiness rate of car salesmen.
Yep.
I hate that. That's the worst. That's terrible.
Dude,
and it's so frustrating.
It hasn't changed much since, it was probably lower even when I was on cars. I mean, I was a pretty bad, look, the one thing I'll give my dealership credit for, the first dealership I started off was a Chevy dealership, all right, is they had culture. The entirely wrong culture, but there was culture. Like, the culture was around just making money. No, any means necessary, you made money, and that's just what was the culture. Now, it sounds like you got some other talents that you want to explore, right? And
precisely. Yep.
We're not typically great in our industry as far as taking individuals' talents and letting them kind of, let's say, go outside of their job description, because we're not necessarily very progressive. We like to say, look, we hired you to do this job. Go do that, and anything kind of that is some variation or looks different makes us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to decide for yourself then, ultimately what you want to do. I mean, it's so funny listening to your story how similar you were that I was at the dealership. I mean, look, I was 20 at the dealership, and this was the late 90s, and they're like, hey, you're the youngest salesperson here, this, stuff about this internet thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I know stuff about this internet thing, right? And they're like, can you help us with this? And that's how I got into, at the time, they didn't necessarily have a title for me. They didn't know what the hell they were going to call me. So I actually had to write my own job description, if you can believe that, because it didn't exist. And I called myself an internet operations manager, which actually combined anything that had to do with the internet, which molded into marketing. All right. And then BDC. Because at the time, our business development center was the department that was handling, these internet leads. And at the time when I walked in, there was 2 people doing it, and they were insanely overwhelmed. And the group came to me and they said, "This isn't working. You know stuff." I'm like, "Sure, I know stuff."
No stuff.
That's literally. I'm not kidding you. That's how the discussion went. You know stuff, and I'm like, "Can you put together a presentation of how you'd run this department?" I came in, I had no idea. Literally no freaking clue. I had to it was like cramming for a test. I spent 4 days of just Red Bull, straight Red Bull. Actually, probably was Monster at the time. And just wrote out this ridiculous presentation and just made up these numbers and made up these budgets I was going to need and everything. I literally had to write my own job title because my job title didn't exist.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of have to define your own job description.
I mean, no. I mean, I'm a salesperson, and what you said, which is I was hired to sell cars.
Yeah,
I like selling cars. I love making commissions. It's great. It's sales is it runs in my family. I can do it for the rest of my life. I don't know if I want to though.
Well, see, that's the thing. You have to decide.
I love cars. I love the industry, and I want to stick with that for sure.
Look, it's hard to walk away from sales because the money's so damn good. Okay, you have to understand. I went into sales. I knew within 6 months of being at the dealership that I knew I wanted to own a dealership. I just knew it, right? And I remember asking my owner at the time, like, how do I own a dealership? And he's like, well, you need to know every single position and role at a dealership. And I'm like, well, okay, that made sense to me. Like it was simple. I was like, okay, I just had to work every single role. So when I told my sales manager that I was going to leave the sales department to go be a service advisor for $42,000 a year, when my last T4, I was making, $167,000 a year. The guy was just like, you're nuts. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, no, like I'm playing a long game. I need to go be an advisor because I have to understand the side of the business.
Yeah.
And I did that multiple times. I went back and forth between making a lot of money, making a little money, because I needed to understand every single role. I played the long game. And I find that's actually one of the hardest things for new salespeople is to understand how to play the long game. But you're in a great position to play the long game. I mean, are you living on your own? Are you at home? Like, what's your?
I'm with my parents. It's great. So I mean, I don't have any bills.
You have no bills, man. You get to play whatever role you want to play right now. I got married. I had 3 kids. All of a sudden, it was like, whoo. I'm so glad early on I was able to take that opportunity and do this bouncing back and forth between big income and small income because I took it for the experience.
Yeah.
Like, I could never do that now. Like, I mean, I look at sales guys that are coming to the business in their 40s, and they're like, that's it. They can't go play service advisor.
They need to be providers, yeah.
They can't go junior marketing, manager or something like that because they rely on that income.
Yeah, so I've seen in your videos you've talked about just an internet department that's not BDC. Can you maybe go a little bit further into what that might look like? That's very interesting.
There's a big misconception there. And it's usually super easy to find out if a dealership has an internet department or a BDC. So, like, the funny thing is when I started, they called it a BDC, but it was really an internet department. That's what it was, right? And a BDC, all right, 70% of a BDC's efforts should be outreach, meaning it's crazy. It's actually in the name of what the hell they do. Business development, meaning they develop business. So therefore, 70+% of their efforts need to be outreach. Develop new business opportunities that didn't exist before. And then the internet department is usually the polar opposite, where over 70% of their efforts are inbound. Internet leads are coming in, phone calls are coming in. These are incoming efforts, right? And I need to take those incoming efforts and I need to, develop that online relationship so that I can get to the point where I can create that in-dealership relationship. Unfortunately, a lot of dealerships will actually shove these 2 different types of departments into one.
That's what we have. Yep.
And then there's always serious confusion. What we end up with is a jack of all trades and masters of nothing.
I mean that sounds about right. Yeah, I mean with our BDC people that we have, like, so they don't take phone ups. All the salesmen take phone ups, but in terms of like internet leads, TrueCard, anything Edmunds, that they get all those. People inquire through our website, they get all those, and then they reach out. They also do reach out to prospective customers, with equity mining and all that.
Yeah,
finding people
that's
who are in
developing
positions
business.
like. But they're doing both, which is definitely an awkward position, and they don't fully understand.
It's super weird because
the sales side.
Yeah, the mentality developing and then responding to it's entirely 2 different mindsets. And so it's like I can't tell you how many dealerships I sat down and consulted with, and I'm like, you got to separate these 2 out. If you got 5 or 6 bodies in that department, then you need to part the seas. And it's like, this needs to be incoming, this needs to be outbound. We try to shove everything together, which then that might actually become more interesting for you because you might be more interested on those inbound stuff. Like, just stick me in front of a computer, let me create those online relationships. All right. And, if I can, I'll turn them into in-dealership relationships. But you just have to decide which one you like better. I'll tell you, for me, I actually prefer the in-dealership experience. But my talent was so good at taking that online and making that online experience because I actually treat them like a fucking human. I would actually talk to them normally, not like, thank you for your inquiry today. When would you like to come in? I'm like, dude, great choice. I dig that car too. I actually saw it come in. It looks really nice. Was there anything in particular like I can get you for it? It's a great ride. Like I
know you hate templates. I know you hate templates.
No, I hate templates, but I love standardizing. So it's like I standardize communications efforts, but I don't template communicate because like I'll tell you, and you're the same too. Like a consumer smells a template, they know.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, great.
It's scary to them.
You just didn't care enough to actually write me out a proper response.
Yeah, I love taking in leads, whether it be, phone ups or, someone who a BDC person has said, hey, can you contact this person because they're, the TO to the salesperson.
Yep.
And it's definitely nice. Again, I love just creating relationships, especially during like the middle of COVID. I was helping my dealership set up, setting up how to get people to put down deposits over the phone, like doing e-signings, like very simple things just because I'm the youngest kid there and like they don't know how to do any of this. And I think it's so important to, again, I want to push the status quo of what a car salesman is. I want people to feel comfortable around me. I want to just be friends with them in a way, and it's a very, I like what I'm doing, but there's just I'm so conflicted in this point in my life, which is it's a good spot to be. I like where I am.
There's a couple of different places you can be right now, and there is no wrong or right answer here as far as like where you want to be and what you want to do. Look, you're 22. Taste everything. All right. Do not pigeonhole yourself to sales because you might find that you actually like enjoy the service department. And you want to talk about making and creating relationships that last an incredibly long time. You understand the sales side, you're building a relationship and then you sell the car and then the relationship's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, being a service advisor, I'd have people come in, bring me coffee. Like, like, hey, I'm bringing my car in for service today. I'm like, hey, Mr. Johnson, what's going on? And Mr. Johnson would bring me a coffee. It was amazing relationship development,
Yeah.
So like, look, there's two ways you can play this. Like, you're young. Taste every single position in a dealership. There are so many to play when you might actually find that the marketing department is where you enjoy, and that's where you find your happiness and you find your jam. You might find that the social media side of the business, which is insanely important, and dealerships do understand the importance of it. Don't know if your dealership understands the importance enough where they're actually willing to pay for it, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But just taste everything. So that's one strategy. Taste it all, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
The other strategy is like what I did is like I knew in 15 years I was going like what my end goal was. All right, like I was going to be a GM, and then I was going to be a dealer principal. And that was it.
Yeah.
And then I just had to reverse engineer everything I needed to taste so that I could get to that point. There is no wrong or right. You choose A, you choose B, you choose blue or red pill. It doesn't make a difference. You just gotta choose one, right?
And I feel like for you, it was kind of the same path with both of those options. You knew that you wanted to be a dealer principal. You knew you wanted to be an owner. So you had to taste every position in order to get
it was in line. So it actually worked out really well.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of criticism for it because I was making very healthy, beautiful 6 figures a year in a sales position. And then I would leave that to go do this. And then they're like, well, can you come back and do the BDC and internet operations? And I go back to do that. And then I was like, I really like the marketing side. I'm going to actually train and develop one of the people that are in my business development reps to take over my position so I can actually jump down a payroll, but go focus on the marketing side of it, right? And then I wanted to be in accounting. I watched the ladies upstairs just literally yell and scream their faces off on how bad, it was for the service department. I was like, well, God, it's that bad. I want to know why. So then I left there and I went to the accounting side. Like, I tasted everything.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none but I feel like there's so many different parts of a dealership that I could go into. I know you're talking about the importance of video, and especially on used cars. So you're talking about telling a story with used cars. That's something we don't do at all. The only videos we have is if you go on cars.com and they have their automatic, this beautiful 2017 Acura RDX.
17,000 miles.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all that. Like I saw in that video you were, I think in the video you guys were talking, but in the background there was a video of someone actually doing a presentation of a vehicle, and just smiling, showing the car off. He said, pick out the 3 favorite features or whatever it may be. Like, I think that's something that I would love to do. I mean, I have acne, so I might not be the greatest face, but like, I feel like I just want to get that, that smile, that energy and stuff out there to, again, start to push that status quo away from shady car dealership into like, oh, someone who actually knows their stuff about cars, is young, is nice, is just going to treat you right. And I think that's going to be a good way for our dealership, again, to drive business. But ultimately, I have no say in that. I've talked with the new owners and expressed interest and maybe wanting to help with social
you don't have to
media
express interest. You just tell them. You just flat out tell them, this is what I want to do. If you want to keep me employed, this is what I want to do. If you don't, that's okay. No foul, no harm. There are hundreds of other dealerships out there. I'll go find one that wants to meet my needs. Like, that's the beautiful thing. Like, dude, like, dealerships are like barbershops. All right, you're renting a chair. like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're renting a chair. You're bringing an income. Like, if they're not willing to develop you, you go find a fucking dealership that will. Like, it's straight up. It is that simple. It's like, I know a lot of people that went through this kind of path, right? And if you look at their resume, they look like they bounced, they hopped, right? And people go, oh, I don't know, that guy, he's hopping. But then I'd actually sit down and talk to the person, like, just straight up tell me what happened here. More often than not, it was because the dealership wasn't providing what they were looking for. And I think for a couple of reasons. A, because they weren't being transparent enough about what they needed from the dealership, their employer.
Yeah.
All right. Like, the employer had no problem telling them, this is what we need you to do. Here are the 15 things, But I think too often as employees, we don't tell the employer what we need. And that's just, dude, that's where you got to go. You just have to go like, this is what I want to do. Pay is not the issue right now. All right. I want to play in this space. I want to grow. I want to develop myself. And are you a group that's going to let me do that? If not, there's 100 others that will.
Yeah, I mean, because I have background in video editing and theater. I've been on stage. Like, I have so many different things that I've done, and I feel like just kind of trying to, I guess, in my head, think of what kind of role I want to hold to still be able to bring in business, and then asking for that. Yeah, because that's something I hadn't even thought of. I mean, like, not asking, telling.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you have to tell.
Yeah.
You have to tell. And you know what it is? It's just, and this is the dealer principle coming out in me. Like, if you were my employee, I need you to tell me, because I may not ask you, because I got a lot of other things I'm dealing with right now, right? I need you to come out and tell me, because, like, knowledge is king. Once I know, all right, what you need to be happy, then it's literally it's my goal or my responsibility as an owner, right, to try to fulfill or say, look, we don't have that position, it doesn't exist here, right, and then let you go so you can go find that position. Like,
and I think with my current situation, the fact that there is new owners, me stepping up and saying, hey, we didn't have any social media beforehand, let me do that, and not asking but telling, and I will help us develop more business. I will help us market ourselves better, because all that we do is post screenshots from Acura.com. Look at this beautiful new RDX, and it gets one like, or it gets two likes.
It's no brand. There's no branding whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all product, not people.
No.
Which is what we want to bring in. We want the people experience.
Now, if you're willing to go that direction, you can tell them. No, you have to be willing. If you're confident enough in the dealership that you're in, you have to be confident enough in yourself and your abilities to say, "Don't pay me for it. I'll do it. The proof will be in the pudding. But trust me, when I come back, I'm going to ask you for a lot more than if you just agreed to pay me now." So I'll tell you, my first general manager position, there was no salary. I actually went and told the owner to make me a GM. I said, "You need to make me a GM. And here's what's going to happen. I'm only going to take 15 points on the increase I bring to you. That's it. If I don't
on the increase, not on the total.
Not on the total. On the increase. If I don't, actually, sorry, it was 18 points. 18 points on the increase. 18 points on the increase. All right. If I don't bring you an increase, I will work for you for free." He looked at me. He said, "You're nuts." I said, "Well, I'm confident."
Yeah.
It's like, not nuts. I'm confident. All right. That year increases net profit by $2 million. 18
points at $2 million.
18% on, actually it was 2.2. But 18, it wasn't bad. It was good money. And that was the first year.
All
right.
Yeah.
then I came down and I said, you want me to continue to do this? This is what you got to pay me. They're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, you had the chance to hire
Do
me
you want more? like you want more business, want more money? Yeah.
dude, I was always like, look, when you're in a space mentally, all right, and you're talented, so you're confident in your abilities, you write your own paycheck. All right, you get to write your own paycheck. But I can't tell you how many times I went to go write my own paycheck, and to write my own paycheck, I had to put myself out there. Like, if this didn't work, I owned it. They didn't take it. I had to take the responsibility. I had to take the risk. I owned the risk, not the dealership owning the risk.
Yeah, take responsibility for your own success, your own
You're
risk,
young,
and all that.
you have
Yeah.
no bills. You can do this. You know, like, you can do this. And the cool thing is that you're going to learn regardless. I mean,
That's awesome. You're absolutely right. I love every single day I'm learning something new. It's sales wise, product wise, whatever it may be. And I never stop asking questions. That's something that when I started at this dealership and I shadowed the top producers. Absolutely.
Nice.
That was I'm not going to shadow the person who's been there for 3 months. I was shadowing the people who've been here for 30 years, selling cars for long, making six figures. And I asked one of the guys so many questions. He goes, "You asked too many questions. Stop asking me questions." And he and I didn't speak for a while. We're on good terms now. But I think it's because he didn't know that I was here to stay, you know. But I was asking so many questions. I wanted to really just get an understanding of the dealership, the systems in place, how to interact with customers. I mean, there's so much stuff that I continue that I'm never going to stop learning. And I think that's cool that you said that or even as in your position, when you were starting to develop that internet department by yourself, you didn't have any experience or not any experience.
I paid for my own education.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what you did.
I took lower income or I took lower pay. All right. To learn, to do. Right, I didn't finish college. I went through one semester, man. I got sucked into selling cars, and I was like,
"Why would you do that?
Why would I do this? Like, I'm making 6 figures a year, and these guys are still in college, and I'm rolling deep with a demo. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
But dude, you're in the best place ever. Now, best advice I can give you, something I wish someone told me, is that I did not start building a personal brand until much, much, much later in my career. All right.
Okay.
If I started building a personal brand 10, 15 years earlier, all right, I can't tell you, like, I got no beef with it. It is what it is, right? Like, I only started building my personal brand in the last 3 years. That's it. I mean, really hardcore, really hardcore.
Like, you've built a very good brand in those 3 years. I mean, look at your setup.
Well, I'm playing catch up, man. I'm
there you go.
playing catch up. Like, this is catch up, all right? This is what it looks like. I'm leaving a lot of money, all right, in building a brand that I may not have had to spend. Like, I mean, look, dude, I have 4 full-time employees dedicated just to the brand. Like, this is four payroll. Like, it's not cheap, you know.
Yeah.
But if I had started this years and years and years ago, would I have to be shelling out that kind of money anymore? Probably not. So I'm playing catch up right now. Look, I'm in my 40s. I'm playing catch up. If I did it when I was in my 20s, entirely different story.
So, as someone my age, what would you say would be the best way for me to develop my own personal brand?
Oh, Joe, you're in the best place ever. You're tasting every single aspect of the business, and you need to document that so I can learn through your eyes. Like, I can't tell you, like, you are literally like a walking petri dish. like I get to watch you learn, and I get to watch you consume, and I get to watch you make mistakes, and I get to watch you make wins. And then as an owner, I get to consume Joe, and I'm like, well, Joe's the future, right? Joe and that entire age group is the future. Look what's important to Joe. I wonder if that's also important to other people that's similar to Joe. You know, so like, I want to consume your brand because I want to know you as a demographic. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the cool thing about being my age and the other younger salespeople here. We know that we are the future of this industry.
Exactly.
The old people who are disgruntled and have been in the industry for a long time and who aren't able to adapt to the times, they're on their way out eventually, and
they're all gonna die.
And you know, oh God. Oh my God.
No, I'm just kidding. Or they're actually going to retire and just do dealer trades. That's what they'll do.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll probably just do dealer trades, go from dealership to dealership. But yeah, I mean, I guess using social media and like, now would you suggest that I would make my own Joe McGinnis
100%.
car guy?
100%. I wish I did strategy with
instead
Jason.
of my own personal like.
I wish I built strategy with Jason 15 years ago. If somebody would have told me about branding and self-brand, because strategy with Jason follows me no matter where I go. All right?
Yeah.
The Joe Show goes
yeah.
no matter where you go. It's just the Joe Show.
The Joe Show.
Dude, that just came out.
I love
don't
it. I love it.
necessarily.
But no, you're right. That does follow me wherever I go. Yeah, no matter what dealership I eventually work for.
Oh, 100%.
That can travel.
That brand continues to travel with you, and there's also value and equity in that brand.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to eventually cash in on that brand. Don't expect to cash in that brand now. 10 years from now, you're going to cash in on that brand, right? You know, Joe's going to be able to work at any dealership in the world because everybody knows the Joe Show. I'm just making stuff up.
I love it. No, it's funny. Okay, so like my own, and then because I feel like certain social media platforms are more in tune with, I guess, this industry. I feel like Twitter's not. That's not
Dude,
super.
it's LinkedIn. You got to understand who your
LinkedIn.
audience is.
Yeah,
Your
LinkedIn.
audience is in LinkedIn. All right, look, you're talking to someone who plays Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Like, I play them all, but the automotive, all right, that older generation, those dealer principals, those owners, the people that you want to see your content is going to be on LinkedIn. So you're not going to have hundreds of thousands of followers. You can have 9, 10, 12, 13, 15,000 followers. But those are the followers that you need. Those are the check writers. Who cares how many followers you have? All right. If you got 5,000 followers and 3,000 are potential check writers, I mean, they'd hire you to come work at their dealership. Dude, that's a freaking win. And I want to, and this is the dealer principal in me coming out. I want to watch the Joe Show. Like I'm an older dealer principal and I need to attract more Joes. So I'm going to learn from Joe on how I can attract more Joes.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. Huh. I think I'm gonna need to hit up Photoshop tonight.
Well, and then
do some more graphics and stuff for my personal branding.
It's a hack for you, right? I mean, you're hacking it because what you're doing is you're networking and you're learning at the same time. So you're getting on shows like you are doing right now with me, right? You're learning, but then my entire audience is now introduced to, Joe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
right there.
right there. You know? And that's what you do. You literally do that for the next 10 years, man. And you become that dealership household name. But taste everything. Let me just, I want to learn from you. I want to learn from everything you taste. You know, go do social media. Go be a service advisor. Go be in the BDC. Go and I just want to learn. Like, you don't have to be an expert, all right? I just want to, I want to learn along with you. Right?
Yeah.
It's like Joe, the new guy. I get to learn through Joe's eyes of how he approaches this and this and this, and he has that generational, perspective. And I want Joe's perspective. I want to know it.
Yeah, and I guess being able to share that perspective again, as you're saying, as a dealer principal, as higher ranked people in that, getting to get a perspective of what our younger audience would be. Yeah. Any other 22-year-olds or 25, 3 years down the line, that generation that I'm in, seeing the way that they like to go about things. Because I think with a lot of people nowadays, they want to do something online, maybe test drive the car, and then buy it.
Yeah.
And I try to make that process as easy as possible. I'll send you the credit app ahead of time. I'll ask for your driver's license, insurance card, all that stuff. Get everything loaded up for you. If we have a deposit, which we done over the phone, when we're ready to go, as soon as you get in the dealership, we'll get you in, get you out within an hour. Like that's important to me as a salesperson, to be able to have that very seamless experience in between internet and in store.
Well, and if you decide to say what is sales, and which is fine, if you decide to stay in sales, then your brand even goes beyond just internal industry brand. Now you're building a consumer brand. So now as a consumer, I get to watch Joe. I get to learn about Joe. I get to see how passionate Joe is about Acuras, right?
Yep.
And it's like, if I'm in market for an Acura, like, I want to buy from Joe. Like, Joe fucking cares, Joe loves his shit. Like, I want to go talk to Joe, right? So, like, best advice I can give you, man, is just like build a personal brand. It's going to work for you both professionally, and it's going to work for you in your own personal career as well. Do that early, because I didn't do it until literally just hardcore in the last 3 to 4 years, and if I had done it 15 years earlier,
be a whole different ballgame for you.
yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining now. I just know that I'm in it for the next 10, 15 years. You know, which is no big deal. Well, fuck it, I'm going to be, what, 50-something? Who cares? I still got a whole bunch of time on my hands.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very new to LinkedIn. So what are like any experiences you would want to share with someone who's new to LinkedIn? Because I only made mine maybe at the beginning of this year. I'm very new to it. I've only created new relationships, connections with people.
Sure.
Like, what is your best advice as to like how to market using hashtags? So you use a lot of hashtags, of course, that's important.
Hashtags
any
are
advice
good.
you can give?
You know, look, it's LinkedIn's a lot of hand-to-hand combat. Like, it's good old traditional networking, right? Like, you target the people that you want to network with, and you reach out to them. That's it. You know, and then why I want to connect with you is because I want to learn from you as a demographic. You are a walking, talking demographic. You know, so it's like I just get to hear Joe's thoughts and opinions on everything to do with the industry.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, it's easy to reach out, dude. You reach out to general managers and CEOs, and you'd be amazed how many people will sit down and just do one of these conversations with you.
And by the way, thank you so much for doing this conversation. This is great.
Right?
Like I saw one of your posts maybe 3-4 weeks ago. I was on accessory marketing, and that's something that I know that I do a decent job at, but I know can definitely be improved. I commented on there. You sent me a LinkedIn connect invite, and now we're sitting here. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Let's literally. I mean, for everyone out there watching right now, I mean, look at this, dude. All you did was just reach out.
Yeah,
Can I chat? Like, I mean, there was like, yeah, sure, man, we could chat, whatever. I got some time.
Yeah.
I'm finishing up my podcast, so I'll have some time at the end of Wednesday. Okay, let's chat. Like, that was it.
It's real simple.
It's not
hard at all.
at all.
Yeah, we're all people at the end of the day. I mean, even if you had thousands of more people, like, you're very down to earth. You're having a conversation. I appreciate the time that you're taking to talk with me, Jason.
And there's a lot of people out there that will do the exact same thing. So I just, like I said, I think you'll have to decide with your dealership if this is the right dealership for you. You'll have to make a commitment if you just want to taste every single position. Play F&I for a while. You want to learn something fun? Play F&I, okay? You know, you want to be a sales manager? Go be a sales manager. Like, there's you're going to learn so much, but document what you learn. All right, because
the documentation
the
part,
documentation of what you're learning as you're going along, and this is why you're going to taste. You're going to taste everything, you know, but the documentation of that is what's going to want me to connect to you as a brand.
Yeah, you mentioned the F&I thing. I've had conversations when I was like very new to this dealership, and the business manager saw I had success selling our after-sale products, you know, like not ceramic coatings, but, you know, protection packages, warranties, and all that. And he goes, "Hey, you could be sitting in my office one day." And I was like, "I've been here for 3 months. What are you, a finance manager? That's kind of crazy." And I feel like I've always been a numbers guy, so yeah, exploring every facet would definitely benefit
and you know
me
what
quite a bit.
the coolest thing with the dealership? You could be in the business in 3 months and then all of a sudden be a sales manager. Like, that is the beauty of our business, is we don't have this kind of like put your dues in and you'll get to this point. We actually don't give a shit. Right? If you got the talent and you got the drive, we'll put you in the position. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's the one very, very unique part about this industry, right? You don't need an MBA. You don't have to have a college degree, right? You have to just have the willingness to work your ass off. That's it. And it's like, you just ask.
That's what I want to do.
Like,
that's what I want to do.
You work your ass off. You prove that you can perform, and you can ask for whatever the hell you want to ask. But you do need to ask. You do have to go back to your dealership and tell them, you know, what you ultimately want to do. If you want to leave sales right now because you want to go play on social media, then play on social media. Or you go and tell them and say, "Hey, look, I understand that you guys don't see value in social media, so I want the opportunity to show you the value in social media. Here's what I'm going to do. I work so many hours a week. I'm going to dedicate 15 to 18 hours a week just to your social media. I'm not going to charge you for it, all right? But anything that I benefit from that is going to come to me."
Okay.
let me go do this. I'm gonna go do this. All right. I need your blessing. All right, thank you for the blessing. No, no, and then just go do. And the proof's in the pudding.
I think it's definitely something that I'm gonna kind of flesh out in my head tonight before I, have a conversation with my managers about this. Kind of deciding where I want to go with this. But I think it's more leading towards social media, video, that kind of marketing. But I still want to sell cars if I can. And I agree. If I put the 15 hours worth of work, especially moving into the slower seasons,
dude,
I don't know how it's going to look with all that. I'm
going
to have so much time. Exactly. That's another reason why this timing kind of worked out is we've been so slow. I mean, with the election and all that stuff going on, you're in Canada, right? So you probably,
I'm actually American.
Keeping up a little bit. Yes, you're American.
So I'm American, but I'm in Canada. So I've been watching
American.
Yeah.
But when you come down here, they introduce you as a Canadian, right? Isn't that what you said?
I don't know what the hell I am. What's funny though is listening to that. That's actually what catapulted. You want to hear what catapulted everything for me? What was kind of that aha moment? Is I was in sales, and you gotta understand this was like late '90s, so not everybody had a website. It's just still kind of like, maybe not. Early 2000s, people just kind of got a website, but they don't really give a crap about it yet. And I was a salesperson, and no one told me that sales are a seasonal thing. I was like, so I got used to making some good coin, and then all of a sudden winter came about, and I'm like, what the hell is this? This isn't okay. All right.
Yeah.
And dude, I used to do everything to generate new sales. I used to drive over to the shopping mall with my business cards and handwrite on the back of them, I like your vehicle. If you're interested in selling it, please contact me, because I'd take the trade and sell another car. So I would go put like 100 different, business cards in all these different windows at the mall, because our dealership is right across the street from a mall. And I started really reading a lot more about, dealerships' websites and inventory websites and stuff like that. You got to understand, Auto Trader at the time was still a magazine. Like, it was still a magazine. They didn't even have a fucking website at this point. So I went to my dealership. I went to my sales managers. Hey, by the way, I'm not selling enough cars, so I'm going to spend my own money. I'm going to go build a website, because I know a bunch of people, right, that can build me a website. And, I had roommates at the time. We'll code you a website in C++, like whatever, old school.
Yeah.
And we'll wireframe the whole thing. I'm like, okay, cool. So I actually spent my own money. So it cost me about $3,000 to build my own website. And I think it was jasonsellscars.com. On my own URL, the whole thing. And I started actually pushing, because their used cars it wasn't even online. Inventory management wasn't online yet. And that's actually how I started. That's how everyone in the dealership started recognizing kind of who I was and what that person was doing. Is I went and built my own website, and then I was selling about 5 or 6 cars a month off my own website.
That's nuts. That's very.
At
the time,
but salespeople can do this now. I can't tell you how many salespeople I know right now are taking their own money, all right, boosting their social media video that they made about this pre-owned vehicle. They're spending 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks against that boosted video, all right, and they're selling it.
You can make a grand commission or something like that if there's gross in there, whatever it may be. And
they're putting their money
profit.
where their mouth is.
That's profit, yeah.
There's a lot of salespeople out there that just doing it themselves. And they're like, fuck the dealer. And if the dealer's not going to give it to me, fine. It's like I'm taking the barbershop mentality. Like, this is my chair. I'm going to profit from this chair as much as I possibly can. All right? And I'll go record my own video. I will go pay the 30, 40, 50 bucks to boost it. And you know what? All of those messengers, those inbound messengers, oh, cool car, man. I think one of my friends are looking for one of those. Like, those are my deals.
So do you think that maybe, like you said, messengers, you think like Facebook would probably be the best way to reach out
Facebook.
For that one in particular, Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah.
Those are the two that I've kind of
they're one of the same.
I feel like I'm gravitated towards
when you go to boost a post.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not saying LinkedIn you can boost. It's expensive. But, you know, yeah, man, you can just.
I mean, with LinkedIn, it's like that's not a place to find buyers. Am I wrong in saying that?
It depends if you want to look for a business. I mean, look, I remember I was 24 and I did a Dodge Grand Caravan deal for 79 units. And this came in off of something I recorded and I put out there, and it was towards real estate agents. And I'm like, real estate agents, you know, if you're looking to really sweeten your deal, all right, buy a house, get a car, reach out to me. Let's talk about it. I posted that video, and I was thinking I was going to have agents reach out to me. I had a developer reach out to me. He goes, I saw your video. I think it's actually a pretty cool idea. I'm building out 80 houses right now. Let's do something. And of course, I'm like 24, 25. I'm like, sure, no problem. I'll come up and meet you. Like, I drive up there with a briefcase. It was totally empty, by the way. And I'm just
For the look, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, let's chat about this, right? Fleet manager loses his shit, flips over. What the hell are you doing? That's a fleet deal. And I'm like, no.
That was you, actually. That's my deal.
79 Grand Caravans I sold.
Wow.
Off of it was a video I posted. Now I'm really going to age myself because it was MySpace.
I've never used MySpace before. I'm a little too young for that one. I've heard of it. Heard the tales of MySpace.
You couldn't even post a video. You can only post the link to the video. So it was like,
oh my gosh. No, this has been very helpful. Thank you so much, Jason, because I think definitely the first step for me is build that brand for myself.
Yeah.
Is build that, and then see if I want to take a venture. And I think kind of a hybrid, still selling cars, because that's ultimately where I'm going to make my dough. But then, as you said, like kind of proving my worth, having them take a chance with me on letting me help out with their social media in a way. Honestly, I think creating a video for every used car that we have is going to be the most invaluable thing. I think having that personal experience versus looking at pictures versus having someone say, hey, this is a great car, showing the interior, maybe even going on a drive along, whatever it may be. I feel like that's going to get more people excited, and again, get more of a face, because I know you guys talked about, and I've heard this study before, where people are willing to pay more for the experience
100%.
than if it's all the same product, and especially with new cars. Oh my goodness, the new car market. I did not know what I was getting myself into with the new car market. No margins or anything like that.
No margins. It's all volume, and you need to find what the Joe McGinnis, experience is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Jason, I think that's pretty much it. I think I don't have any more questions. Do you have anything else?
Nah, dude, this is great. This was fun. I'm glad you reached out. It says a lot about you, just the fact that you even reached out, because I think there's so many people out there that aren't even willing to go that far, just to say, hey, look, this is the direction, this is the career I'm choosing. I want to be better at this. I need to commit myself to this craft, and just reach out. Dude, you did it. You took the first step. Yeah. Now the fucked up part is that now you know.
What is it?
And knowing, all right, is accountability. So, the screwy part is 6 months from now when I go to look up your social media account, because I'll put it in my calendar to do so. And you haven't executed on this. And then I go and post a video on how Joe McGinnis didn't do his shit. Because it's going to happen. Literally, after we're done with this call, I'm just going to stick it in my Gmail calendar to go look up your social media efforts in 6 months.
What date would that be? That would be May.
I'm just going to set it 6 months from now. When is that?
2020. May 4th of 2020. Okay, or 2021. Okay, get us out of this year. Get us out of this year, please.
And then I'm going to have this video, and then I'm going to be able to attach the fact that either you did or you didn't.
And all thanks to you. All my success 6 months down the line. There you go. Well, Jason, I hold me to that, and I'll show you what I'm able to do. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it. Dude. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, dude. If you ever want to just jam, say, hey, look, I got an idea or something, just feel free to reach out to me.
Oh man, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy Mob podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to sign up to Be a Mobster at strategymob.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.